Every brand tells a story. And they are the storytellers. The Sutradhars. They present a brand with band, baja and barat to you. They are the Brandwalas. He is the co-founder of one of India's fastest growing health food brands. Aditya Anand, co-founder and chief marketing officer of Yoga Bar. Alongside his co-founder Suhasini Sampath, Aditya has steered the brand's journey from a bootstrapped startup to a category-defining player known for its transparent ingredient lists, nutrient-dense products, and strong consumer connect. Aditya's vision has helped Yoga Bar disrupt a largely unorganized segment, introducing Indian consumers to a range of protein bars, muesli, oats, and snack products that are both tasty and health-forward. He is our Brandwala.
India is a very protein deficient country. Yoga bars are one part of the solution, and another part of the solution is educating people that we are a protein deficient country. So that's a very important part of our job. I am confident for a brand like Yoga Bar, when you know the objective truth, right, of what goes in, what are your macros, what are the ratios, we will stand out to be the best. So our job is to tell people what healthy really means, and once they read the label and once they know how to, and that thankfully that awareness is increasing.
The Brandwalas. I am Krishnakumar and we are in conversation with Mr. Aditya Anand, co-founder of Yoga Bar. Aditya, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here on the Brandwalas. And here you go, here you have a brand that is all about the new buzz as far as health consciousness is concerned. It's all about protein. Protein is the commodity, protein is the product, and protein is what you're selling. And it's not just you. When you probably began Yoga Bar, you were a first mover, so to speak, but today there's so much competition. So tell us, I want to ask you a very simple, basic question. How do you market protein? Not that protein needs marketing, but how do you market protein in the product? That, you put the protein in. What is the communication strategy over here?
First of all, I also think that protein in this country still needs more marketing. Right? I will never get tired of marketing more protein because India is a very protein deficient country. Right? And the traditional advice has been ki have more dal, and unfortunately, sorry to break it to you, that doesn't solve the problem. Of course, yoga bars are one part of the solution, and another part of the solution is educating people that we are a protein deficient country. So that's a very important part of our job. Right?
When you say protein deficient country, our diets are protein deficient.
Yes.
Whether you are vegetarian or non-vegetarian for the
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Even the non-vegetarians, because even the non-vegetarians typically tend to not have it every day in this country if you look at the masses. So I would say I think there are studies around 66 to 80% of the country doesn't have enough protein. And how much is enough protein? That's roughly anywhere from 60 to 80 grams of protein a day is what you should ideally be consuming. Right? In fact, I was at an event earlier the day, and Dr. Devi Shetty was saying that one of the most important things that you can do is have less carbs. And less carbs means more protein or even more of the good fat. And that's what we try to do, and that's what our objective there is. By the way, the other thing that he talked about was doing more yoga. So, yeah.
So you're saying, so you're technically marketing two things. One, just the brand name, you're marketing yoga per se, saying the fact that like people should take up yoga. And alongside, that keep consuming as much protein and keep consuming your protein.
Yes.
So tell us, I'm fascinated because this protein bars are also arguments for and against. Some say these protein bars are also too much sugar and not necessarily like zero sugar or whatever. And some say do they actually deliver the protein that is advertised on the packet, because you have a number. Your packet says this bar has 10 grams of protein, this bar has 7 grams of protein. How do you balance taste with nutrition?
Fair enough.
And in this particular case, protein nutrition with your bars.
So that's a very valid question, right? So the first part with respect to choosing a protein bar, we solve that problem by giving different types of protein bars available, right? So we have protein bars which have 0-calorie sweeteners, right? They're extremely, the ratio of carbs to protein is very, very good there, very less sugar there. So that's the one that I would recommend if you're conscious about it. But at the same time, there are people who are looking at replacing their after meal dessert. Right, with something which is still indulgent but is also giving them protein. Now, as far as the ratio is concerned, I can assure you that we are obviously the best out there. But when it comes to, we believe in giving the customer as much choice as possible, and we will always have something that is going to be recommended by your nutritionist. At the same time, you'll also have something that is going to be a nutritionist for replacing a dessert. Right, okay. Because it's a healthier form of that, and both help us achieve our end goal of making this country eat healthier food, right? That's the objective, that's why we live for, right? That's what my brand's objective is.
Okay, healthier life and more protein-filled life, if I may.
It's not just protein, it's also
other nutrients that are there.
Other nutrients that are there. It's also about eating as clean label as you can, right? Because many people ask us why yoga, right? Because yoga is a way of living, right? So we believe that we can incorporate that way of living into our diet because we are what we eat.
Curious to know, does everybody at Yoga Bar practice yoga?
No. I wish we encourage people to do yoga. In fact, we pay for many of them to go and hit the gym, right? Not just because of physical health, also because of, very honestly, the intensity of running a startup can get to you sometimes. What really makes me happy is, let's say if I have a choco cereal meant for kids, someone's been feeding that to their family for years and it was loaded with sugar, and we launched a campaign saying that my cereal does not have maida in it, and then they change this. For us, those achievements really make us happy, right? And I think that's the impact that we're driving there.
Okay. You talk about running a startup, you're a new age brand, you're a direct-to-consumer brand to start with, and now you're available online, offline, everywhere. Tell us what is your marketing mix like? Do you, in terms of spending, your marketing spends, between traditional and digital, what is the percentage like, and where do you spend when it comes to marketing?
We spend almost zero in traditional marketing.
Wow,
right?
Zero.
Almost zero. There's a reason for it, right? Because protein today and the way we play this is still very niche centered, right? We are not necessarily a very massy brand. We are not really hitting the rural hinterlands of the country. Digital allows us to really pinpoint whom we want to reach, what age group, what their interests are, and that's the first reason. And the second is it also allows me to measure our efficiency and the ROI very, very well with respect to digital. We also do a lot of in-product, in-store, whether it is an online channel, Amazon, or whether it is a Reliance store. We advertise quite heavily at those point of sale.
As in POP, point of purchase?
Yes.
Okay, so that's your strategy essentially. It's point of purchase advertising and digital advertising. So in that sense, creating content is second nature to what you're doing, isn't it? And tell us, how do you do it for digital, for different platforms? But obviously, clearly, the kind of content you're doing for Instagram is not the same kind of content you're doing for YouTube and vice versa.
So we work backwards with respect to our spends. Most of our spends tend to be on Meta, right? Okay. And in Meta, the video form, short form video, which are the real equivalents, are the ones that tend to perform the most. And so we have an in-house content team, right? And we try to churn out a few pieces of content every week. Right.
You have X number of content pieces to be churned every week.
Yeah, we have KPIs internally for those, right? And now we're part of the ITC ecosystem. A traditional legacy brand would do 1 or 2 big campaigns a year. So, but we realize that the content fatigue in online is much higher. So you have to keep changing the content that you're doing, keep changing the ad that you're doing, because you'll see the same ad all the time, and that doesn't work.
Any particular, marketing campaign or advertisement or a brand initiative that you thought hit the nail on the head with what you were trying to do? If you can tell us the story of how it happened.
Our latest launch on protein shakes.
Oh.
Right. It was a product category that doesn't exist, right? It's a category that we are trying to build. We are saying that, hey, there's a protein bar, but there's also a protein shake that you can keep with yourself, and the amount of protein it gives you is the same as a scoop of whey. And the idea behind this is that we are trying to push more and more spontaneous consumption of protein. So while doing the different ads, we thought, okay, people will consume it like bars, maybe have a couple of them at a time. What we realized, and this is what online allows you to do, we realized that you can buy like 24 of those together, right? And so our messaging moved around, oh, this is actually your month's protein quota and protein fix. And you could do that because you're digital, so you can keep trying different ads and different combinations, and you get to do something within a month or two that would have normally taken you a year as a legacy brand to find out. While they have a tagline and everything, it's about the fact that they have been very consistent about, and they've taken a character and built it over such a long period of time, and that's incredibly hard to do. In a world where digital brands change their messaging every month, right, every week, as I was talking about, to have something that's stood the test of time, really impressive.
What, according to you, is the big buzz as far as the world of branding and marketing and advertising is concerned?
I think two things is what I will say there. One is authenticity, right? I think brands have to be more and more authentic. Brands have to be more personal and relatable. I think the world is moving there. The second I would say is digital marketing in itself, right? Because I see more and more of spends globally, right? And that trend has happened, moving to different forms of advertising with time.
Then tell us what, according to you, is overhyped in the world of advertising and marketing. So much gyan is given about it. It's so overhyped, but in reality is actually quite blah.
I'll tell you, I think a lot of consumer studies and consumer research that happens, I am not a big fan of it, right? Especially as a new
As a marketer, you are not a fan of consumer studies and consumer research?
No, I am a big fan of calling up my customers and asking and talking to them. Absolutely, everyone does it. Okay. But outsourcing that to an agency and trying to get a report, and we've conducted some of those, and somebody once. I think 8 or 13% of our customers have found us through radio, which is very surprising because I've never done a radio ad. Right, so when you outsource it, that's sometimes the kind of data that you get, and no one really goes and digs deep down into what is the accuracy of some of this.
One second, so one consumer research that you outsourced told you that customers discovered you through radio.
Yeah, 8 to 13%.
8 to 13% is what the report said, and you don't advertise on radio at all.
Yes, right.
So that's a spurious research.
And I've seen how these happen, right? When you they pick up. I wish this was done more scientifically and methodically.
Okay.
So I don't trust the sources as much, and I've now worked with some of the larger organizations also, and that's what I would say without naming folks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as you're saying, it's better that if you're a brand, it's better to just pick up the phone and speak to the customer.
Because as a DTC brand, you get all the data anyway, right? And if that doesn't work, go and stand in store and find out what your customers are saying.
B2C brand and a digital first brand, I have to ask you this question about AI. It is the big question and the big answer, if I may, artificial intelligence. Tell us in particular, how do you use AI? Because a lot of when people say that I use AI, artificial intelligence, they're referring to generative AI. Right? So tell us, do you use only generative AI? What other forms of AI do you use? Give us an idea of the kind of tools that you use to market what you market.
New age brands tend to be more data focused anyway, right? Because we churn a lot of data, we create a lot of data. Now, so we actually have more data scientists in our company than we have sales folks, right? In the online team, right? That's actually true because you can know which store is performing well on almost a real-time basis, right? I can find out how much sales happened yesterday. Now, the next step of that is, of course, we used, I wouldn't necessarily call it AI because AI used to be machine learning and it's some form of data, right? Whether it is stock forecasting, right? We use it there. Whether it is with respect to knowing what my sales are going to sort of look like, right? You can sort of you can predict it today. At large numbers, definitely sure it's a bit trickier for the newer launches. But where it's most exciting for us now, right, is the marketing teams getting involved and we write very cute copy, if I may say so myself, at the back of our packs, right, or even the bottom of the pack. And some of it is actually written by AI. Yes. If you go to my website, the hero banner, right, for my protein shake launch is actually an image generated by AI. Yes. The challenge that I
have no words.
It's true, right? So a lot of content is being generated by AI. We are evaluating doing video ads with AI now. And I think I will have some ready in the next 2 to 3 months.
Okay, 1 second. You're saying that you use AI in pretty much everything that you do in marketing, and also not just marketing.
Not everything. I mean, we still have to do these interviews.
No, what I'm going to say is that everything you do in the company, everything from stocking to marketing, AI is used. And now you're saying you're going to do video ads. Let me get this straight. When you say video ads, you mean you're doing television advertisements?
So I wouldn't say they reach the quality of a full-blown TV campaign, while they can, but but we don't do those anyway. But the Instagram ads, for sure, that in the next, there are already brands doing it. There are already new age brands doing it, at least let's say 10% of their portfolio. A lot of the images, the thumbnails, the PDPs, the product pages that you see on the website, those are in many cases being generated by AI.
Are you looking at some time in the future where you will be making a typical TV ad?
I think it's possible, but we would definitely be in the, let's say in the next 2 to 3 months, I would say 50% of my video content should be AI-led. But where an AI tool would touch it significantly.
I have to ask you, health consciousness is something that's existent in the Indian market for a very long time. In that sense, the communication work, the groundwork began, more than a decade ago, except that the health food was the joke in India where people love talking about health food but not actually consuming health food. All that has changed in the post-pandemic era, isn't it? The consumption levels have absolutely gone through the roof with health consciousness. So you don't really have to sell health consciousness. People are already quite paranoid about their health and they're trying to use as many healthy alternatives as possible. So my question here is that how do you tell people that you have to choose my brand? Because there are so many Me Too's available.
So I think the first step here is you're right, everyone wants to eat healthy, right? Whether they end up eating it or not is a different thing, right? Now
they'll end up buying it for sure.
Now, for those who are actually trying to eat healthy, the challenge is, many FMCG companies for so long, right, have been, almost use the word, misdirecting. I want to use the word cheating, but I'll say misdirecting people with respect to what is healthy. Right, for so long, and that's why there's so much public outcry every once in a while. But unfortunately, it only happens when, there is a new piece of information or a new person trying to drive it. I am confident for a brand like Yoga Bar, when you know the objective truth, right, of what goes in, what are your macros, what are the ratios, we will stand out to be the best. So our job is to tell people what healthy really means, and once they read the label and once they know how to, and that thankfully that awareness is increasing.
So So there's two sets to this communication. One is first let people know what actually is healthy, and two is the fact that whatever is actually healthy is in the yoga bar.
Yes. So for that, it's a bit tricky one, I think. Word of mouth, right? From the right set of folks, right? Saying that trust this, but there's no real way of knowing without actually testing the product, right? What I would say is, I wish in some of these cases that the regulatory bodies got a little bit more serious about it, right? But what we do is, I would say that today, brand trust is not a problem. I mean, that it seems for a brand like us, I would say that's not a question that is Yoga Bar delivering is 10 grams of protein or not. Part of it could be because we put our own face, right? We are not just part of some big corporate wheel, and I own my decisions, right? If something goes wrong, I go to jail. Right, I'm in front of everybody. We are very founder-led, and we are there in our video. We talk directly. Our face is at the back of the pack. We are not hiding behind just a brand name.
So you yourself are a brand ambassador for Yoga Bar as much as anything else.
And my family. I mean, we eat Yoga Bar, but I feed my daughter the same Yoga Bar products.
Can I ask you something at this stage?
Yes.
What is the one thing about your job that you love the most? The one thing that makes you wake up every morning and go, this is the reason why I go do what I do. I'm asking this to a startup founder who I'm sure had to go through a lot of stressful scenarios before reaching where you are today. And even today, stress is just waiting to come and get you, right? So I'm saying in that kind of environment, but also the payback is beautiful, isn't it? You meet me and I'm like, hey, I have a yoga bar. And you meet people and they're like, I have a yoga bar. You found a yoga bar. Fascinating. So in that sense, in the middle of all of this, what is the one thing that you love about your job the most?
I wouldn't lie. People telling you that you're doing a good job is a great affirmation. But, that's also because of the company that you have built and the organization. What touches me more, right, and what you remember for a longer period of time, it doesn't happen every day, but it's something that definitely drives you and you get up in the morning for that, is when people weren't finding good enough options, and it is part of their true health journey, right? Like when someone said, I lost 20 kilos, right? And a large part of it, they're not going to do it just by eating protein bars, no doubt about that, right? But they will definitely need a lot more protein as part of their journey because it will keep you full longer than carbs, right? And they tell me stories like that. When they tell me stories like, oh, you have a bar which doesn't have sugar, right? And I'm diabetic, right? And it doesn't spike my insulin, right? It doesn't spike my blood sugar. Those stories are something that we actually share with our entire team, and that gives you, like when we say that, okay, our mission is to build healthy products, right, and to get people to eat better. I mean, because it all stems down from the inherent fact that yoga is about a way of living, and we all believe in this.
Yeah, and you want to create that way of living, all the way from doing yoga to eating the yoga bar per se. Okay, fascinating, fair enough.
But I would still always recommend on the record that I would always prefer people to eat home-cooked food if they can.
Whole foods and home-cooked foods,
yes.
And the second best alternative is yoga bar.
Yes. In fact, there are whole foods that we do offer. For example, oats are great for heart health, right? They are a great source of fiber as well. So we launched oats just for that reason, right? When you look at our muesli is about 30-40% oats, dry fruits and seeds. That's all there is to it, right? And in some cases, for some who prefer like maybe some chocolate in it, right? So we do give those options in many of those cases, but my first preference is always to cook them as raw and eat them as possible.
Okay, just to talk about oats, there's also this other theory that oats are not necessarily as healthy as they are. You see that I hear the opposite end as well. And oats is quite heavy on carbs, if I may.
Oats is heavy on carbs, but I would say 2 to 3 servings of whole grains a day is quite good, right? If you could. And with respect to whole grains, oats would be out there, right? Especially if you're looking at rolled oats. And since, I'm a health nut here, after you cook your oats, put them in the fridge, it becomes a bit more starch resistant, it's better for your sugar.
What is the one thing about your job that you don't like at all? We don't use the word hate on the show. Hate is a very heavy word, What is the one thing about your job that you detest the most? The one thing that you don't look forward to at all?
What I don't look forward to at all. That would be every once in a while, some team member would get some very crazy salary offer that would be not fair to the rest of the company to give him that hike. Because being a very, very fast growing brand and doing this, so anyone who wants to start a health food brand, like, okay, let me try to hire from this guy. Right? We have been very fortunate. Most of our team has been with us from the start. But when that happens, because there were no digital first brands there. There were none of this was there, so we kind of built it out. We figured this along the way, and those guys learned it along with us. So when that happens, it hurts.
So attrition
No,
is the one thing that you don't look forward to. Also, the success also means that success comes with a target on your back also, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm happy, right? Like when people ask me about competition and all of those things, those are good problems to have.
What do you think is the road ahead, at least from your perspective, when it comes to branding and marketing?
I think with respect to branding and marketing, it's not just about how we are reaching out to people, it's also about how marketers are adapting to the newer channels, right? Because the way you would advertise on a big basket or an Instamart is also changing, right? There's a lot of the new POP, the new in-store advertising is also that, and the customer is different or has different needs across those. So understanding that, especially in such a changing environment, right? We're talking about q-commerce growing at 50% every year minimum, right? So that change and adapting to that change, because at least, now everyone is at least saying that, okay, we'll adapt to digital, we'll adapt to all of this, but adapting to these new channels and what the customer is looking for when and what is the messaging you are going to give them, what are the different advertising options those channels are providing, because there you can do targeting, sampling, you can do different ways of brand building with respect to shorter videos there. It's all of that is changing, and I think learning that is important, because the core of brand building, of building an emotional connect, will always remain the same. Right? It is just that the medium and the formats are changing, and understanding, and especially with respect to q-commerce and online trade.
So low attention span means shorter and shorter videos. Is that your solution?
Good question. Definitely. Definitely. And maybe not just shorter. I also think more attention grabbing, right? So when because there's so much data behind all of this. So if I create a piece of content, we will try 3 different hooks for that. Right? Or like, hi, I'm Aditya. Oh, hey, this is Aditya. But in different forms. And that becomes very critical as well. How do you grab the attention in the first place? Because you can only get to 15 seconds if you get the first 2 seconds.
All right, fair enough. We will leave it at that. Aditya, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here on the Brand Wallahs.
Thank you so much, Krishna.